Hey, welcome to the Happy Rant podcast. I am Ted Cluck, joined as always by my good friends and partners in radio, Barnabas Piper and Ronald J. Martin. And boys, we have some pressing cultural issues to get into on the program today because we are that kind of show. Things happen in the culture and people, I don't think it's too much of a stretch to say, boys, that people lean on us. They want us to speak some wisdom into these issues. So
it really makes me wonder about people when
reformed
you say that.
men, though, we are authorities on everything. We are authorities on everything. We will tell you how to think about everything, how to talk to your kids about everything. It's just it's a big mantle of responsibility being a reformed man.
And if at all
these
possible,
days.
we will take the fun out of things too.
Yes, absolutely. We're going to take the fun out of like 3 things today, which is awesome. That's our favorite thing to do as reformed men. But there's one thing, boys, there's one product that even we reformed gentlemen can't take the fun out of, and that is Lagares Roasters coffee. I don't know about you, but I'm having so much fun with this product. The way I have fun with it is to brew it up every morning and then drink it. I grind it.
Are you just are you a drip coffee guy? You know, just put it, you grind it and you put it in your coffee maker and it just ta-da, or do you do fancy
Dude, yeah.
things?
No, I've got like a Mr. Coffee from like 1986 that I'm still using. And I grind the beans up, I put it in the Mr. Coffee, and then minutes later I'm having a nice cup of Lagares Roasters coffee. So if you have not done so, visit lagaresroasters.com, get a bag of Happy Rant Signature Blend, and you will enjoy it. It will be the best and most fun coffee you've ever tasted. Why? Do you do fancy stuff, Piper? Do you do like the Chemex thing?
I'll do pour over French press if I only want like 1 cup. So that's usually afternoon. Mornings, I'm like a full pot of coffee because I drink an entire pot of coffee pretty much every day.
So do I, man. I pound it in the morning for sure.
So,
for sure.
and little bonus of how great the Lagares Roasters team is, they have set up a unique discount for anybody who becomes a Patreon supporter. So you can go to happyrantpodcast.com, get a link to how to support us financially through Patreon, and they've set up a discount that's just good for anybody who's a Patreon supporter, and I'm not going to tell you what it is because it's exclusive to those people. But if you go do that, you will get an ongoing additional discount to the best coffee in the world.
There you go, Piper. That's a compelling promo if there ever was one. A little mystery. Keep it a little mysterious. Make them go to Lagares Roasters and Patreon, and they can support us emotionally too, in that they can lend their 5-star reviews. We're not interested in anything less than 5 stars. No constructive feedback needed. 5 stars, fawning words. Support us emotionally and financially. But boys, we have much to discuss today culturally, including this Marie Kondo phenomenon. Are you guys familiar with this program? It runs on Netflix, and it's a lady named Marie Kondo who goes into people's messy houses and makes them look better. I watched half of 1 episode. So that was my show prep. I didn't even know it was show prep at the time. It was just a show that my wife wanted to watch. So we got through half of 1 episode. We were super bored and we bailed on it. But this has become quite the phenomenon and quite the cultural debate item in that, like everything in our culture, every single thing except Lagares Roasters coffee, Marie Kondo's show has been determined to be sexist. So it's sexist and it's a problem, and I'm outraged. So Ron, have you and Big M watched this program?
Yeah, baby. We made it through approximately 1/4 of the first ep, not knowing we were doing show prep, and that was all I could handle, and I was like, okay, we're done here.
Yep. Similar thing in my household. So let me ask you this vis-a-vis that. Why did you bail so quickly?
Gosh, it was more visceral for me. The whole thing was it was like static. It just was like, I'm all about minimalism and simplifying. I love all those concepts. But like the way they were going about the show.
Except at Christmas.
Except at Christmas is where I like to be a little more overblown. But it was, I think it was, it was bizarro the way they introduced this marital tension into the whole thing.
Yeah.
I got up to that part, and that was kind of my exit. But it was bizarre the way they introduced that, and then it was for me personally, it was really difficult for me to kind of follow Marie along as she did her thing. It didn't grab me the way that she was like going about it. That was all. It was more of just a feel thing for me. But
So you weren't outraged over the sexism, the latent sexism.
I mean, what was the sexism? Was it the part where he gets mad at her because she's not like being is like she wasn't like accomplishing the tasks that he wanted her to accomplish?
She wasn't cleaning the house good enough.
Oh, is that what it was? Yeah, no,
yeah.
I think maybe I didn't get to that part. I don't remember.
Dude, yeah, you may have not lasted as long as we did. I think they're like 30-minute eps, so we probably got 15 minutes in, but we got in long enough for like two things happened. One, like marital discord, disharmony over how the wife wasn't like cleaning the house good enough, and then Marie started chanting like kind of semi-prayerful like incantations over the house, and in addition to being over the knickknacks. So yeah, in addition to being bored, I was just like, yeah, this is too weird.
I did get to that conflict thing, but I think I don't know, maybe we didn't get as far into the like there was, to me, it started with, you could tell there was conflict and they were like they were not same paging it. And so I think before it got like all real, I think we checked out, right? So
dude, little footnote to that episode. Did you think the wife looked like the actress Lake Bell? Do you know Lake Bell?
I don't.
She's been in some good movies, man. And I thought the wife in that episode. No, it wasn't Lake, man. It wasn't. I looked it up. It wasn't Lake, but I thought she bore a striking resemblance to the actress Lake Bell. Piper, are you familiar with this Marie Kondo program? Have you watched episodes?
My introduction to Marie Kondo was through people sharing an article that says that it was her recommendation that people should own no more than 30 books.
Yeah.
And that was all I needed to see to know that I wanted to hear no more from this person, because that struck me as obscene. You know, I'm sitting here with two bookshelves looking over my shoulder, each with, I don't know, probably 150 books on them. And then I've got a whole other big full shelf in the other room. And this is after I've like boxed up a bunch of books to go trade in at McKay's, the best used bookstore in the world.
Oh, love McKay's, baby.
I know, it's a whole reason to come to Nashville in and of itself. But that's kind of all I know. So then I went looking and realized it's not just like a declutter thing. It's like a whole like Zen life improvement thing, which was like point number 2 of why I want to hear no more from her, because the idea that like cleaning your home is going to change your life is seems absurd at best, I guess.
Yep.
Well, I mean, but like her big thing is like Pipe, I don't know how deep you got into it, but like her big thing is like take every item in your house, hold it up, and if you don't absolutely, completely and totally love it, then get rid of it as a way to declutter and minimalize. That's her like philosophy, right?
Wow.
I mean, and that sentence is fine. Sure. Yeah. That's not bad. It's the promise that seems to go along with it that I find ridiculous.
Well, of course, yeah. From our standpoint,
it's like any self-help life improvement thing. It always overpromises. Do these things and everything will be better. And but the irony, that's horse crap.
The irony that I love about it is that you can be just as materialistic with less as you can be with more. If like the end game is to just love everything you have to its fullest, rather than have partial loves for an abundance of things that you have, So like at the end of the day, you still end up as somebody who is just trying to derive, all of your love and your comfort, from the things you have. You just do it with less things than more things.
Still overvaluing the wrong things, or placing your value on the wrong things, even if there's only 4 of them instead of 104 of them.
Right, and I know we're speaking from a particular like spiritual vantage point when we talk about that. But man, there is kind of a 101-ness about that in terms of like, do you really think at the end of the day, when you've like kind of like when you've decluttered your house down from like 300 things to 30 things, like what is tangibly going to be different in your life if you just have 30 things you love rather than 300 things that you have a moderate attachment to? It's like at the end, how does it help? What's helping?
Dude, because if my 4 things are like my 3 Ferraris and my yacht, then I don't know if I've solved the problem, Right. I may still be a materialist.
Right, exactly.
You know what? I'm keeping the yacht and the 3 Ferraris, Marie. That's a non-negotiable.
And honestly, even thinking so the way that Ron described it, if you don't absolutely love it, don't keep it. Like I would literally get rid of everything I own because I don't absolutely love any of it. Besides, like my kids and like they love the dog enough to stick around too.
And even them.
There are days.
Depends on the day. Yeah, exactly. We've been parents long enough to know that some days. We're
not real parents. We've only got like 2 kids or less, so we're barely reformed parents at this point.
Yeah, I don't know if we can call ourselves reformed, but we are parents, at least biologically. But that's dumb because then I would be left with nothing that I get even like. I don't absolutely love anything that I own, but I get a fair amount of enjoyment out of a whole number of things that I own. Like. I don't absolutely love the chair I'm sitting in or the bed that I sleep in or my TV. I just like they're all nice and I'm thankful for them.
Dude, or like all my football magazines from the 80s. I don't absolutely love them, but like I get a kick out of them from time to time.
Right. And I don't know how to value stuff according to do you absolutely love it? Like the answer is just unequivocally no.
Yeah.
But I also would rather own some things than not own anything.
But just
so what's the shelf life on this show, given that it's sexist? When stuff comes out in the culture and it gets the sexist label, like, do you think Netflix is going to pull it? Is Netflix going to like kind of weather the little cultural storm here and let it ride?
Was it that episode? Was it that episode that's sexist, or is Marie Kondo sexist?
Dude, okay, so I read half of one article on it, which is a lot of show prep for me, and
that's a ton of easy, baby.
That's a ton of prep.
Good job.
We need you to back off a little bit,
Yeah, we need to take on some more sponsors and make that time worthwhile. But yeah, the implication was all these episodes have a little crackle of like, the husband is exasperated because the wife isn't doing enough like housework or whatever. The house is cluttered and a mess, and the onus of that in these shows always falls onto the wife. And
okay, so that first ep, that's like every ep then. That's kind of the theme. Is that
I think that's every ep, baby.
Is it? So it's kind of like the woman is in charge of that side of things, and she isn't quite like making the grade.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Which is kind of sexist, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah. I just thought maybe it was that first ep that I saw. I was, so maybe she'll have to change her. She'll have to kind of change her theme a little bit if she wants to.
Yeah, I was gonna say my guess is if it gets extended, I'm sure they've filmed the entirety of season 1 or whatever, but if it gets extended, they can reverse that script real quick because there are plenty of dudes who do nothing, and there are plenty of exasperated wives or domestic partners or whatever who can be just as equally offended the other way. So they can. They can counterbalance that readily if they want to.
I think it's just called editing. They can just get in there, do some edits.
Dude, they should do like
reverse all of that sexism immediately.
They should do all like college roommates for the next season. That way there's no husbands and no wives and no like
Minimalism Island.
Yeah, Minimalism Island. You could vote someone off each time. I love it.
Yeah, it's like an island that only has one tree and like 3 coconuts.
Well, you look at the other people on the island, and if you don't absolutely love them, you discard them. Right. That's how this works.
Yeah, like 6 people, 1 tree, 3 coconuts. Minimalism Island.
Yeah. Oh, I love it, dude.
Oh man,
who would we discard and reform them?
Oh, it's getting racy already. It's getting racy.
If reform them was Minimalism Island, if we were on an island with like I don't know, at Jared C. Wilson and Derek Rishmawi and a bunch of reformed Twitter dudes, who would we discard first?
Oh, dude.
Well, isn't it like a key tenet of reformdom that you can't absolutely love anything because you have to be able to give like but also about everything, So,
dude, you got to be able to qualify everything.
Yes, if you loved a movie, you also have to be like, but there was this theme or some content, and
there were some themes that I wasn't comfortable with. Just a few things.
So I think this mindset would basically it would lead to the complete implosion of the lives of all reformed people if we tried to follow it, because we cannot absolutely love anything.
That's true, man. That's true. Well, boys, who has simplified his life in a way and who's gotten rid of some things is famous Hollywood actor Chris Pratt, star of films such as Moneyball and Guardians of the Galaxy and The Office, which was not a film, it was a TV program. Wait, was he in The Office? No, he was in the other one. He was in the other one. Parks and Rec. Yeah. Gosh, I'm gonna get killed for that, man. How dare I?
You just stept on someone's
you and Marie Kondo,
precious idol.
This show's now in jeopardy. The rant's in
It's
jeopardy.
funny how like The Office has become sort of the thing that people with almost no sense of humor use to show that they have a sense of humor. You know what I mean?
It's the
like
new Seinfeld.
They'll hit you with a little Office meme or a little quote, and it's usually like the least funny, the Wayne Gretzky thing. They'll hit you with a little quote. And anyway,
yeah, I feel like that's a good point though, Big T. I feel like The Office is the millennial generation's version of Seinfeld, is what it is.
Yeah, kind of like
wait a minute.
I don't consider you a millennial, Pipe. Sorry.
Well, no, but I mean, like, make one of these shows is like pioneering comedic genius, and the other was funny.
I mean, that's your opinion.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, like, I'm generationally.
Yes, but I'm right. That's how opinions work.
Generationally, I mean, millennials are not like, they're not typically like diving into Seinfeld. I just feel like The Office is sort of their like funniest show of all time. Have you seen every episode? Water cooler kind of conversational piece.
Dude, I have students, not to like malign my students, but I have students who have, they're like, yeah, Cluck, I've watched The Office through like 7 or 8 times, like through the whole thing.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, how can this be?
Pipe, I'm not making an argument about what's better. I'm not disagreeing with you.
Well, and that's what I was trying to get you to like defend and clarify is what was the distinction you were drawing? I didn't totally follow. I get you now.
Yeah, Seinfeld's too old. Like again, like me growing up, it's like, oh, dude, did you see the one Seinfeld? Like anyone between the age of like 35 and 50, all they do is want to reference Seinfeld. And I feel like anybody under that, all they want to do is ask you if you saw this episode of The Office. Like that's always kind of what seems to come up, but I don't know.
No, you're right.
That's a totally fair comparison.
So you know who wasn't in The Office, boys? Chris Pratt.
Dude,
but Chris Pratt, Pratty is I know, man, good radio. I've been doing this for a few years, boys. But Pratty, the star of many other things, has gone public with the fact that he's doing a thing called the Daniel diet, which has something to do with the Bible and like what to eat. I have to be honest, that's kind of the extent of it, but Christians are loving this. There's been talk of Chris Pratt kind of becoming the new Bono, i.e. the new like cool person in pop culture that Christians can claim.
What?
So Piper, I want you to speak to this. So I think the ceiling is Bono, but the floor is like Daniel Baldwin. But like the floor is really bad. So becoming like the Christian in pop culture, it could really backfire on Chris Pratt. So if the floor is Daniel Baldwin and the ceiling is Bono, like how do you think this moves the needle for him?
Wait, is Daniel Baldwin lower than like Nick Cage in the Left Behind movies?
Yeah, I would say
yeah, it's down in that territory though.
Okay.
Yeah, it's like B grade, straight to video, like left behind level stuff for sure.
I mean I think he, because of where he is as a Hollywood star, like he's not gonna fall that far, you know.
Yeah, he's already done some really A-list things.
Yeah, he has a catalog of film that has banked. Like he's a bankable star, as they say, and so he's not even gonna drop to like Kirk Cameron levels, in terms of former television star turned like Christian spokesperson, conservative mouthpiece, etc. I don't think he's going to go there. I think he is. This is going to be completely cynical, shocking, I know, but I think he's a master of using sort of Americana Christianese to enhance his brand without hurting in the face of those who don't care at all about religion.
Yeah, he's pretty masterful at that. Whereas Bono's thing was a little more like social justice-y. Back before everybody was like exhausted with that as a concept.
It was social justice-y and also very spiritual seekery. And so in an era of like spiritualism as opposed to religion, because religion is oppressive, but spiritualism, like everybody's a spiritual person. His was it has kind of that vibe. He was more explicitly biblical about it, but you kind of got the sense that like, he sat down and talked with Eugene Peterson and these different things, but I'm like, yeah, but I think he would have talked to like Buddha if he was here too, or any kind of famous religious figure he could sit down with, he probably would have. just as a secret. I think Pratt is much more, I don't know. I mean, I don't think he's unreligious necessarily, but I don't think it's going to be like his thing. It's just going to be a thing he sort of mixes in to speak to that middle America, salt of the earth crowd.
Dude, who do you think was the lowest grade, like, Christian figure that Bono sat down with in his years of sitting down with people? I don't think he's sitting down with anyone anymore, but for a while there, he was sitting down with somebody like every month. Who do you think like Bono got into the meeting and he was like, this is a waste of time. Like, I shot too low.
I don't know who the lowest was, but I know he did some weird stuff. When I was a student at Wheaton, so this would have been like 2002, maybe, something like that. He was on tour, like a speaking tour, with Chris Tucker.
Okay.
And they came to Wheaton, and I think it was social justice, human freedom kind of like ending slavery kind of thing. Yeah. But I'm like, touring Christian colleges is pretty low on the for somebody like him who, like, he can sell out Soldier Field in Chicago for like 3 straight weeks if he wants to, and people will buy tickets to every single show and get converted and saved over and over again, kind of thing. And so for him to show up at like Edmund Chapel with Chris Tucker on a speaking gig is that felt a little bottom of the barrel-y to me.
Rich White Kids was always like Bono's wheelhouse. I mean, that's who liked Bono, though.
That's true. And, nobody loved U2 like Wheaton College students.
Oh gosh, yes, yeah. Shortly followed closely by Taylor students. So
followed closely by every Christian that's ever lived. Can I just add that really quickly,
dude?
Like Gen X to older millennials.
Yeah,
I think that love U2.
The rock star that everybody's always been allowed to like in Christendom.
That's true. Absolutely. Gosh, how do we even get? Oh, we're talking about Pratty though. Baby,
Ron,
have you ever?
Do I hear a touch of derision in your voice towards U2? You seem just a little bit less than enthusiastic.
Less than enthusiastic about just the all-out embrace of Bono within the Christian community now going on 40-something years, sure.
Baby, listen though. Let me level with you though.
It lacks a lot of art from my standpoint, but that's me.
Baby, but if you had gotten that big, if the Christian community had embraced Joy Electric in such a way, arena shows like Wheaton College, like, you know, meet and greets with Rich White Kids,
tours with Chris Tucker,
tours with Chris Tucker, 40 years of excess and decadence and fame and money, would you have taken it?
Of course.
Yeah, of course. So would I have. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
all day long.
not even, no question.
I don't know.
Probably would have.
Meet and greets with Rich White Kids that's pushing it. All the other stuff sounds.
Dude, I'm doing that now. I do that every day for like pennies on the dollar compared to what Bono.
I was gonna say I actually had to do that for years on a much lower level. So.
Yeah. And Pipe, you have to do it in your job, kind of. I mean, you know, we're all doing it.
Why do you think I spoke vaguely ill of it?
Yeah. No, I get it. So anyway, Pratty's doing this Daniel diet. Ron, have you ever heard of the Daniel diet? I feel like you're conversant in these things, these different ways of eating. Has this like drifted through your transom at all?
Dude, no. I'm thinking like I want to ask Pipe, like, dude, when did like what was the author on Lifeway that like released this? I've never heard of it. Yeah, literally never heard of it. So I mean, this feels like
a vague impression that Rick Warren might have been involved in the famification of the Daniel diet. It's based on like the story in the Old Testament, you know, where Daniel and his friends refused to eat the rich food, whatever that was, like the Babylonians served, and they only ate the things that were kind of allowed in the Jewish diet. You know, basically the kosher foods of Old Testament, and so it was like they ate vegetables and drank water, and after several weeks they were stronger and healthier than all the people eating the rich foods. And so, you know, Christians being the merchandisers that we are, somebody was like, wait, we can write this up in a book and sell it. I mean, we're talking hundreds of thousands of copies of a book called I think it's either called the Daniel Diet or the Daniel Fast.
Wow.
That has sold. And it's a little bit Marie Kondo-ish in that you're basically minimizing the things that you eat down to near starvation levels.
There you go.
and your life is supposed to be dramatically better with a vaguely spiritual undertone because you have minimized.
Nice.
Dude, it just feels like another one of these like prayer of remember the prayer of Jabez, like one of those.
Oh yeah, pray for 30 days to enlarge the borders of your life and bank accounts.
Exactly. It just feels like one of those things where you just go like I don't know. It's like you want to be careful, but it's like I don't know. I just don't know people that like dive into these things. It's like strange for me because it's not a temptation, and so it's like I'm always wondering like I know these things sell like mass units, and I'm always wondering like I don't really come in contact with people that are like consuming these things, so I'm always fascinated knowing when they've sold like 1 million units. It's just fascinating.
Okay, so I was right in my recollection that Rick Warren was involved, and he wrote the book The Daniel Plan with 2 medical doctors.
Wow.
Okay. And let's see, blah, 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 released it to his congregation. 15,000 people did it together and lost over 260,000 pounds collectively.
Wow.
With the assistance of medical and fitness experts. I suppose the medical experts are there for when they collapsed from only eating vegetables.
I mean, I feel like I can make a lot of jokes right now, but I'm going to hold back.
And then... Yeah, and so it's like it's this thing. Sounds like sort of a holistic health thing where they've woven in community, discipleship, and like not eating anything.
But Pipe, is it like? Did it come out in the is it like within the last year? Is it like fairly?
No. This thing is it's 5 or 6 years old.
Oh, it's old school. Okay, so Pratty's like diving into something that's not. Yeah, it's kind of vintage, for our culture, right?
But that means it has staying power. Yeah. Because if Chris Pratt is jumping in on something that's 5 or 6 years old, like that gives it some legs.
I do think kind of going on the Pratt thing for just a minute, kind of like what you said. I do think that he's kind of found this weird middle ground. He's kind of does this positivism thing, right? Where he's just that's kind of more of what I think of when I think of Pratt. So I definitely think he hits middle America. He definitely doesn't drift too far, like Pipe said, on either side of the coin. So he remains like pretty inoffensive. And because, he can still use the word God, and he can say, it's almost kind of like best life now theology at the end of the day, to where it's like it's nothing to get super offended by, and it inspires a lot of people, and it sort of has this sort of self-helpy, sort of feel to it, and for some reason, people just they gobble that up, especially if it comes from a Hollywood celeb, because typically you don't hear that kind of language, from what is typically a little more of a left of center like Hollywood celeb, and so. I think, man, there's a lot of people that eat that up for sure. But to say even so, dude, to say that Bono is a ceiling for him is crazy to me, because I don't see the connection there on any level.
Yeah. Ted, you're the one who said it.
A lot of silence after that comment, boys. A lot of quiet going on after that comment. Wow.
I was waiting for Ted to jump in and defend himself, because he's the one who set the ceiling and the floor.
Well, no. He's just going off of what people have said, though, about him. Where does the Bono thing come in with Pratty? I'm literally...
Dude, I think the Bono thing is, like, if you're a pagan, right? If you're totally secular, you don't lose any, like, cred if you say that you like Bono. Because Bono's all about, like, I don't know,
he's just an
fixing the groundwater
it's like
in Africa. He's an institution.
Yeah. I like KitchenAid refrigerators. I like Bono. It's like literally the same.
Dude, right.
Thing.
Same deal with Pratty, though. Like, you're a pagan, you can love Pratty. You're a, Bible thumping, in church 3 times a week Christian, you can love Pratty. He's casting a wide net, which I think from a marketing standpoint, this is what Piper was saying. Like, that's the smartest thing, So he's playing it pretty well, but
yeah, I think the comparison to Bono is not so much anything to do with their specific careers as much as he can pick up the mantle of massively famous person who is vaguely Christian-y, who Christians therefore adore. Mm-hmm. Like that's he can be that guy.
Yeah, and
that's a ceiling.
You know what he is? He's Hollywood Tim Tebow right now.
Yeah.
it's not deep theology. It's not like anything really meaningful. But I mean, what he's doing is the equivalent of like Tebow kneeling in the end zone and all the Christians going crazy for it.
No, I think that's a really good comparison. But Pipe, he hasn't, like, as far as I've seen though, like he certainly hasn't like he hasn't gone, like he hasn't sort of made known that he's like a Hollywood conservative though, has he? Like he's all about Trump. He's all about like right wing politics. He hasn't gone down that road, has he?
Not that I'm aware of. Didn't he give an acceptance speech last year, maybe early last year, for some like MTV awards or something?
Yeah, it was
Christians
it was
like latched onto.
It was the Nickelodeon Awards, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And they were like, "This is a sermon," and my recollection, I was like, "Yeah, this is like be a decent person and be vaguely humble."
Yeah, it's a Joel Osteen sermon for sure, is what it was. Mm-hmm. It was, and again, there was nothing. I mean, there were things wrong with it if you want to get theological about it, right? But it was like, it was positive. It was inspiring. Yeah. All those words, right?
Oh, he referenced sort of higher power and living in, he sort of like referenced faith and a higher power and like maybe even like the big guy upstairs, but never referenced any specific Christian faith. But like if you're looking for Christian-y things, you can attach yourself to those kinds of comments.
But Pipe, you know what's funny about it? Because I listened to that speech. What was interesting about it was that he also he kind of went into some areas that most of those kind of guys don't go into. And if I'm remembering correctly, I'm going to get this a little screwed up, but he actually talked a little bit about this idea that we all fail. And it's not about, you know what I mean? Like he kind of went a little human depravity in some ways that a lot of these guys don't go to. So he kind of brought up some things about saying, hey, you're not that great and you're not that special. So he kind of went to some spaces that could have actually even offended in some ways if he wouldn't have wound it back around, to being like, but this is how you still, conquer those things. And, he specifically checks, God as being what we, who we need to go to and who we need to pray to. It was like he said it in ways where I thought, well, that's interesting because like this guy wouldn't have said it that way and that guy wouldn't have said it that way. But it was a little more raw is what I would say. And he's not polished. Like he's not a polished dude on any level. And so I think that's part of what kind of plays in to people's
it's part of his
connection to
charm.
him. Yeah, for sure. It doesn't sound like he plans any of these speeches. Just kind of, they just seem to kind of like pour out of him, and they seem really kind of the moment at least. Maybe they're not.
He plays well in Middle America, kind of like us, boys. All of our live shows are in Middle America, Louisville, Indy.
These episodes just pour out of us. We're unpolished.
Unpolished from the heart.
Absolutely a 1-to-1 comparison.
Yeah, they are.
Exactly.
I mean, this is. I mean, the Happy Rant is basically a Platt speech every week.
It really is. It really is a Platt speech or a Pratt speech. And boys, I want to. I want to talk about some
Chris Pratt or David Pratt. I don't know anymore.
Dude, they're interchangeable at this point. They're like the same person.
Pretty much.
Platty and his intensity and his rough-hewn kind of Midwestern charm and handsomeness.
Chris Pratt speaking at like the Cross Conference next year. I don't know.
I feel like he's going to get a plen. He's going to be a plenary speaker. You know it. Main stager.
Do we know what plenary means yet? Didn't somebody send us the def?
I don't know.
Yeah, they did, but there was a lot of words, and so I don't remember it all.
Yeah, I have no clue. I didn't read it because I don't want to be offended. I want to not know some things.
Plenary is sexist. I'm against it.
Oh my gosh, totally.
Yeah, I'm against it. It outrages me. I'm very angry about it.
Absolutely.
So something else that's making people angry, boys, by way of a transition into our third and final topic on the program, is a Gillette ad. So I want you guys to think about your razors that you use to shave your faces with, and I want you to think about what they say about your socio-political situation, because if anything, shaving should not be a moment where you're allowed to like just shave. It should be an occasion to think about the world and all the problems in it. So the Gillette razor company, long time razor company. I'm not a Gillette user. Are you boys? Do you use Gillette razors?
I do not. I'm not shaving at the moment. So.
I was going to say, Ronnie has a beard currently, so if he uses anything, it's probably like an electric trimmer of some kind.
You know what, though? Wait a minute. Maybe I do. Maybe I do use disposable, because I got to do some trimming, right? So I think maybe I use a disposable Gillette. I think I do.
Yeah, you got to just go around the border a little bit.
You're a pawn in the system, Ron. Good for you.
I totally am.
Just a cog in the machine, baby.
I also use Sexist product on my face because I use razors from Harry's Razors, and that's named after a man, and so clearly it's sexist.
See, I'm perfect and sensitive in that I use Dollar Shave Club. So a little free plug there for the good people at Dollar Shave Club. Maybe we can get a sponsorship out of them.
Baby, you're doing the whole
the exact same thing as Harry's Razors, just not sexist.
Exactly, it's the very sensitive version of Harry's Razors. So
Hipster Shave Club, baby. I'm impressed.
Dude, yeah, I'm going Hipster Shave Club, and I really, really enjoy their products. So if they're listening, and I know they are, throw me a little free product and a little sponsorship, cashish. But anyway, boys, Gillette has just really raised the public's consciousness and invited a lot of criticism with their last ad, which had a little bit of a hashtag #MeToo edge to it, and it's drawing a lot of controversy. And I'll just I'll kind of summarize the ad, and then I want you guys to vamp on it. So the ad shows a bunch of dudes being jerks, and then Gillette gives their "Is this the best a man can get?" thing, which has been their tagline for 50 years or whatever. And then the guys start acting like not jerks, and I don't know, everybody's really angry about it because getting angry is what people do. So Piper, as a sexist razor user yourself, I want you to speak some wisdom into this. Should people be angry about it?
To be clear, just to modify your sentence, I'm a user of sexist razors. I am not a sexist razor user.
Language matters. Grammar matters.
Use your modifiers correctly, please. So I have two opposing thoughts about this ad. The first is I thought the ad itself, as a video with a message, was excellent. I thought it was really creatively done. I thought the way they even turned their slogan into a question to sort of to spark, to kind of be the turning point in this very, very short film, the 70-second film. I thought the way they wove in kind of scenes from old cartoons and old movies and old comedies that showed women being treated like objects, and to kind of use that to prove the point that this has been the norm for a long time. So all of that I thought was exceptionally well done. Now the opposing thought to this is I don't know that an advertisement for a product is the right place to do that. You know what I mean? So they are using conscience to sell something that is amoral, and that's weird.
Yeah,
if that makes sense.
Which is what Nike did, though. To be fair, right?
Right, and we had a similar discussion about the whole Colin Kaepernick thing. And again, I loved what Nike did message-wise.
Sure.
I feel like I shouldn't have to have my conscience burdened by which T-shirt I buy, which shoes I buy, or what razor I use.
See, I feel like you should, because as a white heterosexual male, your conscience should be burdened all the livelong day. There shouldn't be a moment that goes by where you're not feeling miserable about yourself. So
well, it is all my fault, and knowing that, I guess I just take that with me into every purchase of consumer goods.
So you're shaving and you're thinking about how it's your fault anyway. This ad didn't necessarily change that one way or the other, is what I'm hearing.
It reaffirmed it because I am male.
It reaffirmed it. That's right.
Well, I will say this: the criticisms that I've seen of the ad that are the dumbest are the ones that say it's anti-men, threatens men or threatens manhood. And these ironically are the same people who talk about snowflakes and precious flowers, and they pick on millennials and they pick on anybody who has feelings, and then they get offended because an ad says don't grab women's butts and don't treat people like you're a jerk and don't demean others. And they feel threatened by that. So it raises the question of who is the snowflake? Who is the wilting flower? If you think that threatens manhood.
That's a good point. I agree. Ronald, your thoughts?
Yeah, I'm with Pipe. I thought it was really. I thought the message was really good. I thought it was incredibly well done. I kind of liked the. It kind of came out of nowhere-ness about it too. So I think that was really good. I think it was a message that needs to be said and heard. I don't know. To Pipe's second point, it's not the platform. I don't know. I don't really think that deeply about things. I mean, we're in an age when you just people use the particular, especially corporate companies like Gillette. Whatever, whoever was behind that campaign was using it as an opportunity, given the the platform, the influence they have to get a message across. So I don't really care much about that. But I did really dig it. I thought it was good. I thought when they kind of did those flashbacks, it does give you a sense of kind of how we have grown up, and just sort of what we have been inundated with in terms of the objectifying of women and those types of things. So I don't know. I think the exposure of those things is good. I think it's healthy. Whether that's the platform to do it or not, I mean, that's going to be that'll be one of the controversies and one of the disagreements. And I'm totally with Pipe on the latter idea of everybody being outraged that it's diminishing manhood. I think that's insanely ridiculous.
Dude, I think we need to go back to the razor commercials. Remember the ones where like the guy would sort of step out of the shower and he was completely hairless. Like this looked like a prepubescent man, and he would like lash
prepubescent grown up
because he was actually
a prepubescent grown up. Yeah, he was 8 years old, but he was super jacked and had the body of a grown up, and he would sort of lash the towel around his waist. And then he would do the thing on the mirror where you have to rub out like a little part where you can see your face, because apparently he didn't flip the the fan thing on in the bathroom or whatever. And then he'd be shaving, and he would have this like far away look in his eye, like he was just thinking about the $1 billion deal that he was going to close.
Like he was simultaneously like writing a poem while he was like shaving.
Dude, he was writing a poem. He was shaving. And then his lady, like his super hot significant other, would come up and like just caress the side of his face with like the back part of her hand.
Yeah.
And I could tell you, like, I've been happily married to a woman for 22 years. I think in a pretty healthy marriage, that's never happened. Like that's never happened one time to me while shaving. And I look at those ads as that's sort of a beacon of what can be.
Baby, double K's never come up after in front of the foggy mirror and like put her hand across your newly shaven cheek?
She hasn't. That's just. I feel like I've got a bad marriage because of that. I need to read Tim Keller's book, The Meaning of Marriage, and see if he has a chapter on it.
How many poems have you composed for her while using your Gillette single-bladed razor in the foggy
Every
bathroom?
book he's ever written, Pipe, he's written the prop while shaving, looking into the fog mirror.
Dude, that's where I write all my books. I shave like 25 times a day, like just so I could get creative.
Finding God in the Dark was just that one moment where the light went out while he was shaving. The entire concept.
Dude.
It started as Finding God in the Fog, and then became Finding God in the Dark when the light bulb burned out.
That's right, man. That's right. No, you know what? That's the kind of razor commercial that I think we need to go back to.
Can you imagine even a commercial? I mean, I don't even. What do they look like now? Seriously, I can't remember like the last time I can even like remember a razor commercial. Like, what are they? What do they look like?
Dude, they're all kind of ironic now, in the way that everything's ironic.
Oh, okay.
Nothing is earnest anymore.
Yeah, and they've shifted all of their advertising to like podcasts. So if you listen to like ESPN's podcast or the Ringer's podcast or whatever, they like Harry's Razors or Dollar Shave Club or Gillette or
so they're just audio now. They're not really even video anymore.
Well, because they've shifted to like delivery services, because they still use these lines like, "Don't you hate going into the store and buying razors?" And I'm like, I don't know, I never thought about it, but sure, whatever. So now
you have to go to the store still to get food, and like you can get the razor typically where you get your food,
right?
So it's not like
I know, and then they do this whole thing where you have to ask to get the case unlocked for the razors. I'm like, they did that at like ghetto Walgreens 15 years ago. I don't think they do that anywhere anymore. But so like I think it's generally shifted to like advertising their delivery services through podcasts. They don't do nearly as much on TV anymore.
Hey, I got an idea, man. At Indie Live, one of us should do like a live on the air shave.
Dude, I love it.
Just to see how it goes. Just to see what happens.
We should all three do it with our different
put
razor
three
companies.
mirrors in front of our mics, and we'll each shave. It's going to be really
Well, here's the deal.
Really
if it was a race, I would win, because it takes me about 8 seconds to shave my face, because I don't grow very many whiskers.
Pipe, for me, if to attempt to do that, there's just going to be blood just dripping down all over the table. It's going to...
Yeah, I think you get a 5 o'clock shadow within about 7.5 minutes of shaving. I get a 5 o'clock shadow after about 7.5 days. So
there you go.
The difference between Ron and Barnabas.
There you go.
Dude, isn't that though, Ron? I mean, it's a brilliant idea that you've brought up. I mean, at the end of the day, isn't that what the audience wants though? Don't they want to see us shaving?
Oh,
I mean,
100%.
Isn't that what this has all been building to all
Absolutely.
these years? Is
Nobody wants to hear
on a
us talk.
stage.
They want to see us shave.
No, they want to see us shave. Of course they do. So,
but
dude,
which razors do we use to make sure that we're appropriately positioning ourselves politically?
Gillette razors. I know they need to be Gillette razors.
Okay, not Harry's razors. That's
dude. I'm gonna have to get out of
clear.
my lifetime merch deal with Dollar Shave Club, in which I send them a couple dollars every month, and they send me merch.
That's right.
So,
you're the delivery shave guy. We were just talking about that, but you're the guy that refuses to go to the store, buy your groceries,
That's
and
right.
shaving.
I don't
gear.
go to the store. Going to the store is outdated to me.
Well, it's sexist too.
Baby, it's so sexist. Stores are sexist. Here's the thing. I'm not going to rest until the three of us are on a stage, seated at a table with like cisterns of water in front of us with mirrors, shaving our faces.
Can it be like the old porcelain bowl
Dude,
and
that's
pitcher?
what I was going to say.
Like the old wash basin?
Dude, the older the wash basin, the better. We need old hipster vintage wash basins. And we need to shave.
Like the thing where you put the little brush. And
yes.
It's like you're mixing whipped
we need the
cream.
brush thing.
You're mixing a bunch of whipped cream and putting it all over your face. Yeah, I would love that.
Dude, so we need people. So if you're out there, listeners, if you have old cisterns, wash basins, old shaving accoutrements from like the turn of the century, we would love to borrow those. And,
what if we brought in a barber, to do the thing where they they strap their razor and then they shave us?
Get a guy that shaves
Dude, they
us.
put those,
yes, that's what I want to do.
Yeah, they put those hot towels on our face and they shave us like gentlemen. Oh yeah,
we just turned this into an on-air spa, is what we did.
Yeah, dude, we did. I want a spa.
This.
I want spa treatment while we're doing our program in Indianapolis. Oh, boys, these are good ideas. This is good.
Nothing
synergy.
says Middle America like a good spa treatment.
Absolutely. Those good hardy Midwesterners. They love nothing if not a good spa day.
Our spodcast. How do you like that, boys?
Spodcast. Welcome to the Happy Rant Spodcast. That was Trogue's voice for a minute there.
It was Trogue.
Yeah, that really was. You took the
Yeah.
laughter right out of me and you gave me a flashback.
I know it. No, that's good, man. Shaving on the air. It's what this whole thing has been building towards. So, boys, I appreciate the synergy and the ideas, and I've written some of those in glass here in my office and just drawn some arrows. So I feel really energized by this time. I feel like we've used the time well. So in that, I'm going to say that we've wandered to and fro throughout these topics. And until next time, Rachel the Held Evans.
The Happy Rant is brought to you by Resonate Recordings. If you go to resonaterecordings.com, you can see the full range of services they offer. So if you're considering starting a podcast, they are the ones we recommend going with. Again, go to resonaterecordings.com to see their prices, to connect with them and ask any questions, and to see what they can do to help you launch, edit, master, and improve your podcast. Again, go to resonaterecordings.com to see what they can do to help you launch and improve your podcast.